Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
From the press, we meet today under very difficult and disturbing circumstances. As you are all aware, the United States Embassy in Lusaka has announced that it will withdraw $50 million worth of medical supplies and medication support to Zambia. This decision was not taken lightly. It follows what the USA has described as an inadequate response by the Zambian government to systematic theft in our public health system. This announcement is not just a diplomatic issue. It is a moral indictment, a harsh but honest reflection of the deep rot in our healthcare system and public institutions. It is shameful that the Zambian government is more concerned about diplomacy and protocol, and not the corruption that has been exposed. While the statement may come from Washington, its consequences will be felt in Lusaka, in Mansa, in Choma, in Snazeze, in Chavuma, in Kaputa, in Shangombo, in every district hospital and rural health post where our people go to seek help and live with nothing. Let us be clear. This is a scandal created not by foreigners, but by the failure of our own government, by its indifference, its inaction, and its refusal to confront the corruption that is bleeding our country dry. Medicines meant for the poor have been stolen, have been looted. Supplies meant for clinics have vanished, have disappeared. For years now, reports of theft and mismanagement have gone unpunished. And yet, those responsible remain untouched, protected by a culture of impunity at the highest levels of government. And now, Zambians, already struggling with poverty and inequality, are being forced to pay the price for this failure. It is unacceptable. It is unjust. It is unfair. It is inhuman. And it must not continue. It must stop. It must be halted. We hear there are stocks of medicines only for about 6 to 8 months. After that, we might have serious shortages of ART drugs and medical supplies. Procurement of drugs requires forward planning of up to 1 year to ensure that we have enough stocks for 6 months and enough of buffer of 6 months to be safe as a country. We have systems and tools to help us with focusing. There hasn't been a fulfillment of pledges by the current government. All procurements are donor-driven. PEPFAR, Global Fund, and others. It is unacceptable of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema's administration to continue refusing to take responsibility for their failures. Mr. Hichilema has failed to curb corruption from his government in 4 years. He will not curb it even if he's given 100 years. Clearly, curbing corruption is not a priority for him. The UPND government has a very sick habit of being quick at parading small civil servants whenever there is an outcry of corruption. They do this every time corruption scandals are exposed. The big fish are not mentioned and instead are left to continue stealing from the country. The lamentation by the USA ambassador that there are half-hearted arrests of low-level individuals is very sad, but not surprising, considering the sick habit of this government in shielding senior officials from prosecution. Mwewa muntu waba mukutwi. The life of a person is in the ear. One who is willing to listen avoids a lot of trouble and perhaps an untimely death. Chula chitomfwa apulikila umulemba mukutwi. The frog who did not listen burst his eardrum. The unheeding person comes to grief. Ichikutiwe tachumfwendi. An idiot does not hear the warning bell. A senseless person does not heed good advice. But beyond the immediate crisis, we must confront a deeper truth. Zambia cannot continue to rely on foreign aid to run its health system. This dependence is not development. It is disempowerment. It has turned our country into a nation begging for band-aids, while our leaders squander resources on luxury, SUVs, foreign travel, and empty rhetoric. What kind of a sovereignty is this, when we cannot even guarantee paracetamol, Panadol in our hospitals without foreign help? That is why, as the Socialist Party, we say enough is enough. Twachula bafula. Twasevana bafula. We must build a healthcare system that is owned, funded, and protected by Zambians for Zambians. A system where no child dies because medicine was stolen. A system where no mother dies during childbirth. A system where no nurse is forced to work without gloves. A system where our people are treated with dignity, not as charity cases. Our manifesto, the manifesto of the Socialist Party, is very clear. We will allocate at least 20% of the national budget to health. Not on paper, not in slogans, not in rhetoric, but in actual funding that reaches the front lines. We will establish a universal socialized healthcare system, free at the point of use, and anchored in public ownership. We will invest in local pharmaceutical production, train more health workers, and expand rural health infrastructure. We will put in place strict anti-corruption measures, including community monitoring, digital supply tracking, and jail in time those who steal from our sick people. This is not just a plan. It is a necessity. Because the current system, the one built on handouts, looting, and neglect, has failed us. Fellow Zambians, the US Embassy statement should not just anger us. It should awaken us. It is a reminder that we are being governed by people who cannot be trusted to protect the most basic rights of our people: the right to life, the right to health, the right to dignity. Let us not allow this moment to pass without reflection, to pass without resolve. Let it be the turning point when we say we will no longer tolerate corruption. We will no longer condone lies. We will no longer allow manipulation. We will no longer depend on others to care for our people. We will no longer accept mediocrity in leadership. The Socialist Party is ready to lead a new era, an era of self-reliance, public integrity, and social justice. Join us, stand with us, and together let's build a Zambia where health is a right, not a privilege, and certainly not a donation. I thank you all.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, Dr. Mukisa, our General Treasurer and Second Vice President, will also weigh in.
Just allow me to emphasize the importance of health in any situation. You take a village setup, you take a city setup, country setup, the role that health plays is very critical. When you have a health citizenship, your productivity in that country will increase. A health citizenship will have an improved well-being and lifespan. When your health works very well, health system works very well, you are forming an enabling environment for several other activities to take place. A functioning health system is very much complementary to education. Imagine your child at home is sick. What's the implication of that? The mother who was employed, who was working whether on a farm or anywhere, has to stay home because the child is sick. The father who was working has to stay home because the child is sick. The importance of health cannot be overemphasized. Any activity that you think of, when you lack health, that activity is compromised. And that applies to the whole country. In a nutshell, health is a fundamental building block of human capital. It enables individuals to achieve their full potential and contribute to society's progress. I just wanted to emphasize that particular point. The high role, the important role that health plays in any economy, in a household, every sector of the economy. When it lacks health, productivity falls. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, I will take it up also and weigh in a little bit. There are two words, again, two words that are critical in what we're trying to communicate today. One word is called systemic. The other one is called theft. When you combine those two to read systemic theft, it simply means the entire health system has been perverted by theft, by thieves. That's what it means. It's not a diplomatic language, but the American ambassador used that. And the question that we should be asking ourselves is, how does a diplomat come to that? How did they come to that conclusion that there was systematic theft of US-funded medicines? Again, they conducted their own investigations for 2 years. From 2021 to 2023, they were conducting those investigations. They visited over 2,000 farmers' outlets. And with those farmers' outlets, they came to certain conclusions. And the conclusion was that half of the 2,000 outlets were actually stealing. They were taking drugs that are meant for public use, and these are the ones that we were making business with. Half of 2,000 is 1,000. This is theft at a grand scale. There's no other way to describe it. We basically have a parasitic pharmaceutical system where every second pharmaceutical outlet is parasitic on government resources, on public resources. Once they concluded the investigations, they didn't hide that report. That report has been there for more than a year now. They did share the report with government. Government is aware of those findings. A number of government officials were part and parcel to those investigations. So this was not done in hiding. No, this is an investigation that was being done with a full knowledge of the UPND government and the president himself. So they waited for answers. They waited for a response for 1 year. Did that response come? No. In the typical UPND fashion, they tried to trash that report. They tried to overlook, to ignore the findings of that report. What the American ambassador did was like saying, if you're not going to listen to us, if you're not giving us answers, we'll now go to your masters, the ones that voted for you into power. And they have come to the Zambian public and told us there is systemic theft in your country. We have waited for answers, we have waited for responses for 1 year, and we never got it. We are sharing with you Zambians this particular information so that you know when you go in a health facility and you're not getting the medicines, it's because you have a government that is stealing. That's where we are, comrades. And it's not an insult, that's the truth. They have waited, they didn't get the answers, and they said, let's come to the general public, to the Zambian masses. It's now in the court of the masses, of the public. That's where the issue is today. It's no longer with the Americans. But you may be asking, does government have control measures? Yes, government has inbuilt control measures. Medical stores itself has a small internal audit function. The Ministry of Health has an internal audit. So what happened to all this? How did they fail? Don't look far for answers. Remember what happened to the directors in the Auditor General's office recently. They were fired. They were dismissed. And we have said it over and over. Their dismissal is because there's fear they are going to spill beans. They are going to start talking about the corruption of the UPND government. So these have to go. And they have come out themselves and said, we are not for sale. A good number of you from the media have reported on this issue. So in essence, what has happened is that the oversight institutions have been squashed. They have been made ineffective. Enforcement has become very partial. Anti-corruption fight has been weaponized. If you're a political opponent, we are going to deal with you. Procurement has been mismanaged. So all those institutions that are supposed to be there to safeguard the interests of the Zambians have been dismantled. They have been switched off. This has created a vacuum where stealing becomes part of the routine functions. It becomes systematic. So systemic theft is only possible when all institutions, all functions of control are switched off. And it's by design, it's not done randomly. It's not a one-off thing. And that cannot happen if the top leadership itself of the UPND is not involved in it. You have written as a media about containers of medicines disappearing or being found in people's homes. You should be following up what has happened to them. So if containers can disappear, how about the drugs that end up in a small warehouse in Kaputa, in Lukulu, in Chavuma, in Tadiza? So again, the UPND government has failed this country. And it's not just the Ministry of Health. We are focusing in on the Ministry of Health because a donor has come up and said, your government is stealing, and is stealing at a grand scale or on a grand scale. But the same analysis done for the Ministry of Agriculture will bring similar results. The same investigations conducted in the Ministry of Finance might even bring worse results. There is no government ministry today that is free from corruption, that is free from systematic theft. There is no grant-aided institution in Zambia today that is free of that. So we are being governed by thieves. We have a government that's parasitic, a government that is surviving on the basis of stealing public resources. The American taxpayer is saying no to this stealing. And it's time also the Zambian taxpayer says no to this stealing. So, to the Zambian masses, tomorrow when you go to the hospital and they tell you there are no drugs, ask them to give you a prescription so that you go and take it somewhere else. And please, Visit the nearest Socialist Party office or persons or leaders and let them know. Let them take a copy or photograph that prescription. We want to call a spade a spade. They are here in Lusaka boasting and saying that we are not running short of medicines, that the country is doing well. It's arrogance of the West order. Because everywhere where we go, we are being told we don't have the medical supplies. So again, share with us, share with the media. Every prescription in this country, there's something called essential drugs list. And a lot of what is prescribed in the public domain, in the public institutions, is supposed to be provided for by government. And if government is not providing what is on the essential drugs list, it has failed the Zambians. This country has got systems that monitor the procurement of those drugs. This country has got a system that basically gives priority to certain drugs that Zambians need. So Zambians must not be running short of those drugs. The budget for drugs has been one of the best funded. And comrades, members of the press, we are talking about this because we know the system. We know the system, how it works. We have been part of that system. We're part and parcel at a certain time of our history in providing input ideas to the development of the systems that are there today in the health sector. Dr. Mikisa here, who has just spoken, was in WHO at the rank of director. He has served in many countries, literally covering the entire African continent for years and years. He knows the health sector, not just of Zambia, but of many other countries. And you can't lie to him how a health system works. For about 20 years of my life, I have spent it also doing nothing other than looking at health systems. We know what a health system looks like, and we know how a health system should work or ought to work. And what we are seeing here is unacceptable. Because this country has invested a lot in the operational systems for pharmaceuticals. This is one of the countries that has taught other countries how to get it done. How do you come up with your essential drugs list that is supposed to respond to your disease burden? How do you do procurement that is more focused, that's more effective? How do you get those drugs tested for efficacy? How do you store those drugs? How do you distribute those drugs? And how do you monitor? How do you get the feedback in terms of how those drugs are being dispensed? Also, if there are side effects for certain drugs, there's a system for reporting. So we know what must be there. But operational systems, as we are discovering, are not sufficient without political will to enforce and to adhere to those systems. And when you have something called systematic theft, you basically switch off all the systems. They stop functioning. And that's not done, again, by coincidence. It's a mistake. It's by accident. No. This is done for a purpose, so that the leaders can loot. The UPND leaders that Zambians have entrusted with their health can continue looting the resources, the medicines, and also what comes to the health sector. We are getting into by-elections. Small health centers that do not have drugs will soon have drugs when they are going into a by-election. So again, whenever there's a by-election, check if suddenly you get those drugs. The system is not supposed to work that way. It's not supposed to be conditioned because you've got a by-election. And always check also to Zambians what you are buying. There's a lot of it that's actually already written donor funded, and you're not supposed to buy that. Whenever you see that, report to us, report to the media. If the media is not capable of bringing it out, the Socialist Party leadership is capable and willing of bringing it out. Our job is to safeguard the lives of our fellow citizens, and we'll do whatever it takes to ensure that materializes. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, David. I'll come to the end of this. Thank you.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.